your safety, it should be your responsibility. Technically, your own safety is your responsibility. It's always for another day.
Oh my days, you are so loaded. Hi everyone, welcome to Wisdom for Exploit with me, Bola Amore. Today I have another amazing guest, and the topic we're gonna be looking at is herbal medicine versus conventional medicine. Before I introduce my guest, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you. My guest is Dr. Dami Olayanju, widely known as Dr. Dami Pilgrims. He is a doctor of pharmacology and transitional medicine with a strong background in research, clinical and commercial science. He is also a professional musician and leads the renowned Pilgrims Band in the UK. Having ministered at events of all sizes, Dr. Dami is also the founder of African Piano Lesson Online, supporting musicians in their professional growth. He is a devoted family man and blessed with wonderful children. Thank you, Dr. Dami, for joining me on this talk show this wonderful morning. How are you faring?
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Lovely to be part of this show. I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to an amazing session of discussion around this amazing topic. Thank you, man.
Wow, you're welcome, sir. So today's topic is focused on herbal medicine versus conventional medicine. And the introduction question is, could you share what first inspired you to pursue a career in science and medicine?
Yeah, thank you very much, ma. I guess growing up as a child, I've always been fascinated about how things work. So my real specialty, like you rightly introduced, Doctor of Pharmacology, particularly, I've always wondered, how do people produce drugs? How do they come up with therapies? So, I think from my childhood years, which I still do anyway, like my parents used to do this, my mom in particular, used to say I was very destructive in a good way. I could see a TV and just get like a screwdriver, unscrew everything, and just try to see what's actually inside this television. So you always see me unscrewing things, and I, so many fascinating things, just trying to understand how things work. I still do that every now and then. Sometimes with music instrument, you probably just see me unscrewing things, trying to understand what's inside the motherboard. And I think that's what led to the drive, wanting to understand how to understand disease processes and how people actually come up with treatments. And I pursued my further understanding chemistry, biology, and then went on to pursue a research in pharmacology, particularly for drug discovery and development. Thank you.
Wow, that's really wonderful. So you are also a musician. How do you manage the balance these two career paths? How do you balance the two career paths as a musician and as a pharmacologist?
Okay, thank you very much. I think for music, it's probably say natural disposition. So quite a lot of my family members, they're all musicians. So probably say there's a genetical aspect of things to that. My dad is a musician, a lot of cousins and family members. But we always believe nature and nurture. So the nature was there, but it was also important to nurture the gift and the growth. So growing up, spent quite a lot of time with choirs, and like I joke, either by my own desire or forcefully. We grew up in a religious environment or Christian environment. Whether you like it or not, you'll be dragged to churches and stuff. But then as a kid, but obviously reflecting back, I think the forceful intervention in some instances when we didn't feel like going to night vigils actually has paid off. So I find music quite therapeutic for me. because weekdays can be very busy, heavy on with science, and then weekend when I get to do music and obviously ministry work as well helps me to really clean off my mind and focus on other things. And by the time I'm back to my science work the following week, I'm a lot more refreshed to be able to expand my or work on my brain cells, if I can borrow some scientific terminologies now.
That's good. That's really wonderful. So does it mean that you study music, or it's just that based on what you explained, it just came naturally because of the interest you have in it?
Yeah, so I I would probably say I studied music as well,
Okay.
um, because it's quite important to you can have like natural abilities, which I, to the glory of God, I like to assume I do have some natural abilities because I pick up any musical instrument if I have interest in it. Naturally, I'll probably just pick it up. But then there must be a considerable amount of effort you also need to put into it. So I
Mm.
did quite classical training because if you learn how to sight read music, for example, you have to dedicate a lot of time. So as a student, after school, once I'm back home, after I've finished doing my homework, then I'm sort of like locked on somewhere in the room playing the piano or practice for like 1 hour or 2 hours. But
Mm.
then I didn't. It's just now when you flashback that's for I'll probably say over you know 3 decades of doing that. It's actually like an intense studies, and I was always doing a couple of exams here and there, and doing for different tutorials online or physically.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really good. So beyond science and music, what other skills, interests do you have, whether related or completely different?
Um, I I always like to talk about the 5 F's of life. One is my faith. So everything spiritually is really important. That we put God first in everything we do. So I do enjoy doing a lot of ministry work. Evangelism, and I think the spiritual governs the physical in pretty much a lot of things. So I'm very active. You see me active in a lot of either music related or not, or just anything that will help to share the good news. The second is fitness. I like to do fitness related activities in terms of health because I do go for walks almost every evening if I'm at home, and even when I'm stuck somewhere,
Mm.
and I will still try to go for a bit of an exercise to keep the body fit. Third is family. I'm very family oriented as well. So I believe you need to transfer the skills to the children. I sometimes I joke with people that 10 years, 20 years from now on, the only people that will remember you worked late are your family members.
Yeah, true.
So if you don't spend quality time, if you don't build enough memories with them while growing up, because that's good. That's pretty much the thing that will technically live on, while you're here after you're gone, praying for long life.
Mm.
So yeah, finance. I think finance is also good. We must be financially upright because we need and scripture. So I apologize if I sometimes I speak and I have to bring in scriptures
That's
alongside.
fine.
So
That's
um, and Bible talk as that so prosperous. And I believe we have to prosper in all things, health and also in our finance. So speaking on that, I'm also an entrepreneur. I do get involved in different businesses. One
okay.
that I'm actively involved. I'm also a very strong network marketer, and I've to the glory of God, build massive business around that aspect. A topic for another day, because I've had people, particularly on my best day, which I happen to share for the first time, after a couple of years, and people say, "Oh, how do you make money?" Okay, I can share things on how people can make money. Completely different from music, completely different from science, and how you can leverage on your network and see how to earn extra money. And we also have other family businesses like fashion stuff. I teach people on business development, commercialization, and a couple of things. Like I said, man, it's something for another day. Thank
Oh my days, you are so loaded. Yeah, the first man I'm gonna see that you wear so many hats.
Actually, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's good. Wonderful.
Yes,
That's really good. Thank you so much for
thank you.
spending all this time. Now we're going to go back to our topic, the focus for today, which is herbal medicine versus conventional medicine. So, what is the difference between herbal, natural medicine, and conventional medicine?
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful question.
Mm,
Um, I would like to say I'm a very simplistic man. So I
okay.
like to think things as simple as possible. And obviously, I'm aware of the interviews for the general public. The reason why, so the best way to describe herbal medicine, is based on the use of natural remedies. You
Okay.
know, the common one is where people just take a particular leaf
Mm,
and then they probably soak it in water or soak it in various mechanisms and
mm,
things, so use this. And these are things that have been documented over the years as well, and it's been passed down generation. Now, that's an aspect of herbal medicine, and it's been around because right from, should I say, origin of life, this is what people have tried, try and error based on observation. Okay, maybe if you use this, perhaps it will. Or they've noticed if you use this, it helps with fever, it helps with this, it helps with that, and over time they've kind of like documented it. Now, in terms of conventional medicine, we'll probably say it's more of a modern medicine.
mm,
The interesting thing is conventional medicine is actually based on herbal medicine. When you look at things historically as well, it's just for conventional medicine is heavily backed scientifically and
okay.
has gone through things like clinical trials as well. But
Mm,
when you even look at conventional medicine, probably say, large, good proportion, 30 to 40% of therapies is actually based on herbal medicine as well. And maybe as we go on during the conversation, I'll be able to expand more. You can separate both, and sometimes you can see the intertwined relationship
okay.
between both as well.
All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So, my second question is, what are stronger scientific evidence about remedies or conventional medicine? So,
Um,
are stronger scientific evidence, yeah,
yes, ma'am.
about remedies or conventional medicine?
So conventional medicine, because really conventional medicine is based on scientific evidence as well. To be honest, I think that's the major difference between the two as well. Because obviously, when you look at dosage, when you look at investigation, and document quite a lot of things. How about medicine? And those are some of the limitations as well.
Mm,
They do work in some instances, but because the scientific evidence is lacking, then that creates a lot of issues as well. So conventional medicine does have a lot of scientific evidence to it.
yeah, but what about people that call themselves like a Alba doctor? Does it mean most of their supplements are not scientific tested?
Fantastic question, man. So if I take a step back, well, if you want to look at the discovery of a drug, for example,
Mm,
largely there's what we call, in terms of small molecule compound, for example, what by small molecule compounds, these are active ingredients
mhm,
that works. So when we identify an active ingredient that works, then they take the active ingredients, then it's okay, maybe after we've done a screening of so many compounds,
mm,
then this particular active ingredient has shown promise to perhaps be suitable for a particular disease.
mm,
And then that goes through what we call in vitro analysis. So in vitro analysis is where, when you see scientists in the lab, working with cells, doing a lot of stuff,
mm,
when they've been able to document that, okay, so if, let me explain in terms of cancer, for example,
mm,
they take, let's say, that particular ingredient, and that compound, or
Mm.
I can use ingredient maybe for layman's language,
Yeah.
and they test because cancer cells and lab will multiply rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
If a normal cell is dividing, let's say 2 cells in 24 hours, cancer cells may be dividing 8 cells in 24 hours, and that's basically why cancer grows. There's that rapid growth technically for cancer. So
Mm.
when they take that particular compound and they test against that particular cancer cells and say, okay, well, this prevents that growth of that particular cell. Maybe
Mm.
it reduces massive. And so, okay, well, now we've identified the lead compound. Then we'll move into what we call in vivo analysis. In vivo analysis then goes into things like animal experiments where you can have induced cancer in a particular animal. And say, okay, if we inject this particular compound, does it reduce, the growth of the tumor? Then if that works, and by the time you go into in vivo, you'll be going to what we call like the dosage regimen, looking at body weight ratio, that okay, for this particular body weight, for the particular growth of
Mm.
the tumor, this is the amount of this compound that is required. And then you take that, and then that moves into clinical trials. So
Okay.
when it moves into clinical trials, then you start going through all these different phases of clinical trials. And
Wow.
then looking at body ratio, looking at age, looking at, obviously because the dosage that we give to children is different from adults, is different from older people. It's also going to be different from people with different underlying diseases as well. And it's
Mm.
okay, you give this particular dosage. And then once you've tested, which most times for the drug discovery on average take between 15 to 20 years because of all those experiments. And that's what like scientific documentation. And at the end of the day, then it is satisfied that okay, this is safe to be used for human use. Now, on the other hand,
Mm.
for um, in quote now, Alba medicine, like you said,
Yeah.
they could have documented that okay, this particular person seems to have cancer, for example, they've seen it go and they use this, it works for patient X. Now, if they apply it to patient B, they
Mm-hmm.
may say, okay, patient B, maybe someone younger or maybe someone older. But
Mm.
then they haven't really taken into account all the extra scientific investigations that will have gone into conventional medicine.
Mm.
Maybe patient X is fine taking that drugs. Maybe patient Y might have immune reactions, might have several allergic reactions to this
Mm.
particular compound as well, which
Mm.
is common. You can see some, even as friends and families, as couples, someone may tell you, oh, I don't eat eggs because I react to eggs. It's not the eggs, it's certain proteins inside the eggs that's causing that immune reaction. If
Mm.
some of the compounds that people react to a lot of stuff. I've seen people react to okra. I've seen people react to different vegetables as well. You've seen some people tell them when they take vegetables. So
Mm.
if a particular herbal medicine is now based on some of those ingredients that hasn't been scientifically tested or is mapped against that particular patient, and that's why it's almost sometimes it appears like trial and error. Like it works for patient A, doesn't work for patient B, or works for patient C, and when it gets into patient B, then it leads to a lot of medical issues and even compounds that a lot more. And that's what I mean. Like there's no scientific justification or basis for the application of traditional medicines.
Wow. So in that case, who is head responsible? Is it the people administering the Alba, or the person that went to the Alba people or supplement shop to get it are responsible when things happen?
Interesting question. I think it depends on the country. It depends on belief. It depends on location. Because in countries like the UK, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you don't really get to see so much of about the medicine practitioners too, because a lot of the herbal stuff in code has been well tested and documented and transferred into conventional medicine.
Sure.
Because when you look at, like said, but when you look at a lot of conventional medicine, it's based on what we'll have classed as herbal. When you look at history of aspirin,
Mm.
aspirin is from willow bark, the plants, the bark of the tree. And then, they probably realize, okay, this works for um, fever. Aspirin is what we call a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. And
Mm.
then over years they've used it, and then scientists will now take it and say, okay, let's take this uh, uh, um, leaves. So chemically, or chemists, then they will, if we're looking at what the general, maybe they blend it or whatever it may be, then this what we call the compound screening, and eventually come to identify within that tree the active compound that is working. And when we identify the active compound, then they purify that compound, then they scale up, and that's what becomes aspirin. So a lot of drugs, tobacco, which people use as well. So, and that's why I tell people, as pharmacologists, say every drug is a poison, and everything we eat is a poison. And that's why an understanding of nutrition, because everything you take rice, you take eba, you take pounded jam, you take anything,
Take
they
chips.
all take chips. They all have active ingredient. If you eat too much chips and eat chips, too much of that will lead to build up of fat, and that can lead to a lot of cardiovascular disease as well. It can lead to blockage of arteries, can lead to heart attack as well, stroke. So
Mm.
having an understanding of nutrition, because every food is a therapy as well. If you don't eat very well, there's some food they'll tell you, oh, or if you take this particular juice or whatever it may be, just realize that your skin is beginning to look fresh like yours, man. So,
Thank
like,
you for that compliment.
rather than some people using makeup and all those stuff, you see nutritionists. Even sometimes I tell people, I know it's nice to use makeups, to use a lot of this stuff. I say, well, rather than you invest in a lot of time, a lot of money, which is good. It's nice to have makeup sometimes, but why don't you use that money to understand the nutrition that works for you, the food that works for you? So you eat well, you feed well, naturally your skin will start changing. You drink lots of water, and then by the time you want to apply makeup, to take things to the next level, your skin is nice and looking sharp.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that insight. Yeah, because actually you covered the my other question, that
Yes.
should herbal remedy be tested at the same scientific standards as conventional drugs? So I think you've covered it in what you explained. Or do you still
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to expatiate on it? That should herbal remedies be tested to be to the same scientific standard as conventional drugs?
Yes, ma'am. If I need to expand on that, the answer is yes. And I will answer it from the angle of the limitation that we experience, particularly from the African population, myself being an African. One of the issues we have as African is the transfer of knowledge is very limiting. So, and we've seen families, even I'm from, like our local town as well in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria. They're very good with bones and restructuring of bones and things. But all they need more is for scientists, obviously, come in terms of modern knowledge, to be able to take that knowledge and then build up on that particular knowledge and expand things. Because there's quite a lot of things that do work. When you look at Madagascar, periwinkle, it's another plant, and that's was one of the traditional medicines that were used for a lot of diseases, including cancer, childhood cancer as well. But then that was been should I say, it's been scientifically investigated that became or called being crimson and being blasting as well. So when we have a lot of these things that work, and then if the government encourages that, because when, like I said, when you look at places like England, a lot of all those things have been heavily researched now. But whereas in Africa, there's still a lot of traditional stuff that work, anti-malaria drugs, so many things as well that we can then invest on it, take money, take time, build a lot of heavy research organizations to expand that. And maybe a lot of things that we're still trying to go to the Western world or to other countries to buy medicines for. Past, we already have treatment for them back home as well. Or in different, people go to what we call Chinese medicines. Chinese herbal medicine is very, very strong as well. And And a lot of Chinese herbal medicines now people are beginning to research, particularly from cancer's point of view, to take them to the next level. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. So, can Alba and conventional medicine be used together successfully?
Oh yes, that's perfectly well, ma'am. Obviously there are different approaches to therapies.
Yes.
Things like acupuncture, which is quite common for pain. People can do a bit of acupuncture and yoga, for certain things, and still combine with pain relief, painkillers as well.
No.
So, and some of these things. But then when you look at, for every album, there's always the scientific basis to it. Historically, while they were doing it, it's probably just based on evidence. It wasn't based on scientific understanding of what's going on. But nowadays, when you even look at acupuncture, like there's always the scientific basis of doing or using of using a particular methodology. So you can combine both. Because sometimes we call combination therapies. That's called integral medicine, where you can combine both together as well. But it's always good to have an understanding of the herbal medicine approach versus conventional medicine. On the other hand, it can also be dangerous as well, because if when you look at what we call drug interactions as well, there are times where a particular herbal medicine, particularly when people take let me borrow the word agbo in Nigeria.
I was
So
about to mention that
yeah, yeah, and I was in Nigeria. Oh my God, when was this? I think there was a particular time, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and my mom's driver that picked up. So we just go to the restaurant, and this woman just woke up. Oh, if you take this agbo, this one will flush your stomach. This. Fab. It just took one cup. I was looking. I said, why? You have to take this. Yeah, no, damn it, don't worry. Like this will flush my. The next morning, I had almost 2 hours battling with stomach ache and going to the toilet. Now, in his head, he thought the agbo has worked. That it was flushing his stomach. And I said, what do you mean that it was flushing your stomach? Literally, you've been going to the toilet. This is a reaction. You're going to the toilet every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and all those stuff until eventually, you have to use flagyl again. I said, no, stop subjecting yourself to things. Do they work? Yes, in some instances. But like we always tell people, it's not calibrated. It's not, if you were to take paracetamol, for example, paracetamol, which interesting is one of the leading causes of death in the world as well. And yes, ma'am, it's one of the leading causes of death. Yeah. And the reason is, like, so every drug is a poison. So when you look at paracetamol, for example, when the body breaks down paracetamol, and for most drugs, they break down what we call you can have an intermediate, so it breaks down and becomes a particular intermediate. Now, the liver, which cleans up the system, has certain compounds which binds with that intermediate just to mop up the system. And that's why if you're taking paracetamol or any drug, there's always a time that, okay, take this every 8 hours, every 4 hours, every 12 hours. That's just because sometimes if the byproduct is in your system, that gives the liver enough time, to sort of like clear, or even the body system to clear that system. Now, if they say, okay, take 2 tablets of paracetamol, just for example, and this creates 8 intermediate, or let me say 2, for example, 2 of those byproducts, and the liver is producing 2 of those byproducts to clear out. You agree with me that if you take 4 as opposed to 2,
okay,
then you have 4 byproducts.
Okay.
And the liver can only produce 2 of those things to clear the 4 byproducts. Then you have 2 locking round, and the excess of those 2 locking round will destroy the liver and destroy other parts of the body. Now, the issue with traditional medicines, especially like we talk about in quote agbo that people use in Nigeria is people believe, oh, the more I take this agbo, the more it will give me strength. Especially when people use them for different stuff. And they say, oh, if I take 2 cups or I take 3 cups, if the agbo obviously is leading to a lot of different byproducts in the body, and that's why then it leads to byproducts, or sometimes people will take things or traditional medicine and they become so sick. Sometimes it's because either they've taken an overdose of it because it is not calibrated. And that's why it's one of the main issues. If so, ideally, when some of these agbo works, what should be done is then to take them through scientific investigation, come up with the dosage. Okay, eventually you take 1 cup in every 6 hours, or 2 cups in every 24 hours, or something like that, and then you're operating under safe dosage regimen.
Thank you very much. But I want to ask question about the people on paracetamol and other medication. So what about people that have like a medical condition that the doctor has prescribed a medication, they're going to be on it for life? So
Yes,
what will happen with their kidney? I know we have a question on that kidney anyway, but
yes,
yeah. So what will happen? Because since you said all medication are dangerous.
okay, yes, ma'am. So there's no right answer to it. The answer is we need to understand, the underlying disease first, and
Okay.
that is why if you take any drug now, and even if you buy paracetamol, now I know most times most people don't read the leaflet, but it's there for a reason. Even if you buy ibuprofen, for example, ibuprofen will tell you do not combine with this X amount of drugs. You can be using ibuprofen and using some of these other drugs within that category. They even tell you, do not use if you have ulcer, for example. So although ibuprofen may appear like a common drug, paracetamol may appear like a common drug, they also have a lot of side effects as well.
Yeah.
So it's really important to read that. Then if you read that as a leaflet, although sometimes your doctor will have asked you some of these questions unconsciously. Okay, are you taking? And if you remember, it's always very common. Even when you go to the pharmacy, even though the doctor has prescribed you, the pharmacist will ask you the question again: are you taking other medications? Because of drug-drug interactions, because of side effects, which can lead to other problems as well.
Sure.
So because every drug is a poison if it's not used appropriately.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. Why is it important to tell your doctor about supplements you are taking?
Okay, man. So it's I think it's and off of should I say continuation of that statement, because you don't want to have adverse drug reactions, and adverse drug reactions is one of the killers in this world. Adverse drug reactions. So people do it unconsciously or out of ignorance as well. People, I know in this part of the world, obviously for people based in the Western country, it's not a big issue to a large extent, but in Africa, it can be a big issue because people do quite a lot of self-medication. People can just, people have an issue, they just buy one type of antibiotics. They go, oh, amoxicillin. Oh, this is not working. So, okay, go and try another one, ciprofloxacin. And then it's just, they've used amoxicillin for 3 days, and then they go and try metronidazole, and they'll try Friday, okay, try ciprofloxacin, and try it. So it's all these different trial and errors as well. So, and that's why there's quite a lot of adverse drug reactions. The problem with that is, if we eat certain organs and the organs end up failing, liver, for example, then fear the patients will be gone.
But what about, I understand you said people take ignorance and all those stuff, but sometimes they will advise it might not be doctor. Maybe you belong to a group or something. They say, okay, when you get to a certain age as a woman, you need to be taking something magnesium. You need to be taking zinc. You need to be taking multivitamin supplements. So what about those people that take all these supplements? They go to what's it, Holland and Barrett, and get
Yes,
all all Chinese shop that do all these herbal supplements, and they're taking it alongside with their, would that be an ignorance even with that? I know I've asked that question, that why is it
yes.
important to tell your doctor when you are taking supplement, but some people think that it's not necessary. This is just multivitamin I'm taking. Why should I inform my doctor?
Okay, man. Yes. So for supplements,
Mm-hmm.
and if I pick on that word supplement, is to supplement something. It
Okay.
can be. It's not a standalone
Okay.
product as well. So
Mm.
a lot of the vitamins, most times they come from natural food sources. So if your diet is balanced to a large extent,
Mm.
then the supplement, and that's why it's a supplement. And if you read the supplement as well, they tell you this does not replace. It's always clearly things, you
Mm.
know, your natural intake of the natural supplements. Because let's say maybe you're meant to have 10 units, then brought out of magnesium, and maybe from your food or from your diet, you're taking nine.
Okay.
Then the supplement should help you add the one extra. Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes some people can be very unidirectional. I have a friend, he must eat pounded yam every day.
Well, maybe it's not nice.
So uh, even though it's good, but it may also be lacking in different supplements. So I
Mm.
always take it. I said one of the things I do enjoy, especially when living in a multicultural society,
Mm.
is if you adopt the eating culture. You see the English people, they eat around a lot. Go to different restaurants and they try different foods every Friday. They're whining and dining somewhere.
Not
Apart from
not all doctor.
oh,
Some,
okay, for some, but
yes,
like what
some do home cooking.
yes, man. So no, like they do but what I'm saying, like when you look at an English person, they they put good emphasis on feeding. You
Okay.
understand? In fact, it was one of the first thing I learned when I moved to England. Then because I think, when you look at, I mean, obviously, judging from the English community I sort of like belong to, they were not so much crazy
Mm.
about what they wear. Obviously, I'm sure we work with a lot of them as well. They have two, three, four clothes. Not like everything is bad in that. Compared to Africans, Africans were very heavy on what we wear. What
I
we invest a lot of money on clothes and all this stuff. Then
mm.
we invest less on
On our health.
our health, on
True.
feeding.
Mm.
Whereas when you look at the English culture, holiday is really important to
Yeah.
them. Rest is very important to them.
Mm.
Feeding is very important to them.
Mm.
They don't mind, and that's why I say if they go to restaurants on Friday nights or whatever, they don't care how much they spend on the food as well. And then I used to think, for us we would rather deprive ourselves from eating
Mm.
well, and then save that to buy Ashwebi,
I should be.
but
I should be for
but
the next party.
for,
Imagine.
for the for the next part. And then and later I realized, I said, okay, actually the best thing you can do for yourself, for your body, really what goes into your body.
Mm.
And that's why it's really important to feed well. As soon as I learned that if we have to go out, not like I mean obviously I do look at prices of food sometimes, but if I think okay, we need to feed well. If it involves me not buying the next trainers or next shoes, as long as I have a shoe that I can wear, it's left to me as well. But it's really important that the family we feed well as well. So and that's why it's very important to balance that. And when we feed well, all those natural supplements is may not be 100% essential for
Mm.
you like that as well. And if you're taking them, and if you're taking a lot of those things as well, and they're not cheap. Sometimes some of these products are not actually cheap.
No.
I've been taking a lot of those pills because
Mm.
I have, I've seen people who just like they go with so many bags of things. So it's very important to always tell your doctors so then they can know, okay, this is what you're using. And then depending on the drug or the medicine they're prescribing to you, it's always very important to let them know everything you're doing so they don't misprescribe you because there may be a need to tell you, okay, for this particular
Yes.
time that you'll be using this particular drug, don't use this. In fact, a very common approach also is even without the doctor telling you this,
Yes.
they always tell them do not use alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not written on the drug or the med. Even less even as if no, I think natural instinct to tell you should tell someone that do not take alcohol while taking drugs. But then I'm sure it's very common with our people. They drink alcohol while they take medications as well.
Yeah, even most of the herbal, they soak them in alcohol.
Yes, so they sold them in alcohol for extract. There are some of those active compounds won't come out unless there's a bit of alcohol to extract them as well. And that's why things must be balanced. And then even when you look at even the impact of the alcohol, sometimes people use for most of that was that Siemens Shinap.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes people use very
dry,
strong
dry.
dry gins
Mm.
and even a shot of dry gins, natural with that is contains the active other stuff is enough to make someone's head spin up. So
Mm.
when someone now takes 2, 3, 4 shots for whatever reason they're taking it, well, that's may even cause damage to the liver as well.
Mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that knowledge. Why do some people distrust conventional medicine even though it's scientifically tested? Why did they distrust?
Oh, oh my goodness.
Distrust.
Yes, there are a lot of reasons to that.
Mm.
One, belief system to
Mm.
start with. Belief system, for we have some religious organizations, um, for certain reasons, I may not want to mention names, but there was a case, there are some religious organizations, ethical reasons,
Mm.
where they don't believe in blood transfusion, for example.
Yeah.
And there was a case, I think in Nigeria, the young girl was meant to go for, well, they just need blood transfusion, the parents refused. Um, that it's against their belief system. So I've had people who don't believe in transplants as well because they always say, oh, you're taking someone else's body organ, into your own body organ as well, and there are a lot of ethical reasons and religious reasons, which is very big. In fact, I've had, sometimes people will fail to express breast milk. There are times people buy natural breast milk or, for other parents can, because we do have nursing mothers that can express as well. And some people don't believe it as well because there's the belief that, okay, the child will whoever's breast milk the child is taking will see that person as the mom or something. So there are different ethical, religious reasons. There are also impact of field system, part of field systems, whereas maybe someone they've gone to a particular hospital, they've used conventional medicine, and because it hasn't worked, and then maybe they've now used the herbal medicine and it's worked, then the people say, oh, this product doesn't work. Uh, and especially people who grew up in rural places because they're so used to herbal medicines anyway or growing up, or they don't have access to that. So it takes a bit of time for them to have that sort of like belief system.
Mm. Thank you. I remember the question before I asked this one. You mentioned a lot of people when they take the Alba and when they
Yes,
start going to toilet, they believe that it's working.
yes,
And I think that's the mentality because a lot of people believe that Alba medication flush out the system. You
Yes.
understand? So, and this now go to this question that are herbal medicine always safer because they are natural? I know you did said that there was a guy that took it when you travel and was going to toilet every 10 minutes, and he has to go and take something different, you know what, to subside the diarrhea. You
Yes.
understand? So now, do people, because now we've talked about belief of people, belief system about, okay, maybe blood transfusion, they don't believe it. Yes, I know that one. A lot of people don't believe in blood transfusion. Some people, the breast milk one is what I don't understand, because majority of women, I say, unless they have problem, you understand, because a lot of women want to breastfeed their kids because it's more better, and it will help the baby as well. So
Yes.
that one is not what I'm not sure of. I know some people, they say no, they don't want to breastfeed, they just want to feed their babies with this. I think that is individual. Anyway,
Yes.
individual. So anyway, we'll still say they don't trust because of that. And transplant, you mentioned about transplant. So that is, I know all this comes under the conventional one. So what about this Alba thing, whereby I know you mentioned people take it and they are happy and sometimes it works for them. So is it more safer than going for the conventional one? Because when we look at the conventional one, when you talk about the paracetamol issue, that, not only paracetamol, every medication are dangerous, especially if you are not taking it the way is prescribed, or the way the doctor asks you, instructed you to take it. It could damage the liver, it could damage the kidney.
Mm.
So does it mean now, when we look at it from the angle of okay, I want to be safe, I don't want all this chemical into my blood system, then do we think that herbal medicine is more safer?
No, no, man. From my own point of view, government is not, because safety measures. We look at the application of the treatment or the medicine in this case, and also should also look at the side effects
Mm,
of, everything we do in this life is always got a risk associated with it. If you're driving,
mm,
it's nice, but there's always risks of
yeah,
accidents or car failing and all this stuff. And then we look at going on the flight, there's always this other side of things to it. As long
mm,
as the positive outweighs the negative. The key limitation, with most of this one sometimes is they haven't really documented
mm,
the adverse effects, the side effects of using some of these things as well.
mm,
Maybe, I think there was a story that trended on social media a few weeks or months back. I think a lecturer that took some agbo and passed away at
mm,
the hotel, obviously for other reasons as well. I mean, but then it's probably just coming from the fact that either it took excess dosage, or it could have even been, you could have taken the recommended dosage. Perhaps that drug didn't work for uh if if things like chloroquine, for example, people react to a lot of chloroquine as well,
mm.
body itches and things like that. So it's really important. And for people who fall into that category, if anything queen or chloroquine, you may say, okay, this is not something I need to take. So a lot of other medicines, there are people who react to that as well. And because it's not documented, most times, then it may create a lot of issues compared to taking the conventional medicines approach.
Thank you. So is there scientific evidence, yeah, that herbals can harm the liver or kidney? I know we've been saying this, but is there any scientific evidence that herbal medicine can really, damage the liver or the kidney?
Oh yes,
Or even the heart, because it's just
the
saying kidney and liver. What about the
yes.
heart?
I think I probably wouldn't say liver or kidney. I think there's scientific evidence that herbal medicine can damage different organs, because it depends on what organ is being used for. and it can also, like I said, it can help to heal, but there are also evidences that it can damage. Even things like green tea extract, which is very common across shops as well. If one is being used as herbal medicine, I think there have been some evidence that it's leads to like some liver damages. Broccoli is an antioxidant as well. It's very common in the UK. And it's been extracted for even other things as well, because that targets what we call the oxidative stress pathways as well. But if used or taken too much in excess, it can also lead to some issues as well. Yes, man. So, yeah.
I thought I thought they encourage us to be eating broccoli because it contains a lot of folic acid and what
Yeah.
again. So
Yes.
so he has his own side effects as well.
Yes, man. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, and that's why I said, as long as we take everything in moderation, uh, that's always the best way to approach it.
Moderation, yeah. Yeah, anyway, everything is moderation, trust me. Everything is moderation.
Yes, man.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, man.
All right. So with the rise in AI technology, what is
Yes,
the
man.
role of AI in herbal and conventional medicine?
Um, it's interesting because AI is
Hey, we got
probably
AI. Everything is AI now.
AI. I think AI is just something that just obviously become very popular. But AI has been in operation for quite some time. When you look at phone technology, AI, video calls, right from when we look at the history of how the phone communications has happened, it's just probably in the last 2 3 years that it's now really gone so much into mainstream. So AI, is very good with diagnostics, radiotherapy, radiology. AI can be good with things like that, data analysis as well. Um, AI may also be good in at least first line of recommendations for certain things, because AI is based on existing data. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are times with AI, because it works on machine learning, it's just learning, and they will only learn based on existing data. So on the other hand, nothing's to beat speaking to your doctor, because there's so many aspects to so many things the doctor will look into, and then the doctor may use AI to complement some aspects. But even the empathic nature of things is well. Sometimes speaking to somebody can be quite therapeutic and with boosting your faith. But if you're speaking to a computer, so it can be a little bit tricky. But it does work. AI may also be useful in herbal medicine, because perhaps it can help us to document some of the things that has worked, and then providing a baseline of further investigation to then be able to package this thing properly into future medicine applications.
Thank you. Wow. Anyway, we don't. If we say we should continue to dig deep into this AI thing, let's just leave it like that. Thank you.
Yes.
So, should medical schools teach more about herbal and traditional medicine?
Yes, yes. I think it's really important, particularly if you're based in a particular region, to have an understanding of the herbal medicine as well. And like I said, if you look at history, in fact, a lot of scientific discoveries initially stem from the use of herbal medicine. Even when you look at vaccination,
Yeah.
the vaccination was based on observation and what we call inoculation mechanisms as well. So, and then obviously maybe scientists can take that forward, and then they start investigating and expanding. So I think it's really important if if they can learn more about that. I think that would be really useful.
Wow, that's good. Anyway,
Yes.
should herbal remedies be considered alongside conventional treatments?
Treatment. Yes, in some instances, In some instances, like I said, things like acupuncture, for example,
Okay.
where people use for pain relief, and uh, even people go for different types of massage
Mm.
for therapeutic interventions. People go to chiropractor, which sometimes they stem from herbal treatments as well. So they can consider both. So it's like I said now, it's just important in some instance to speak to your doctor to let your doctor be aware. That's if you're using conventional medicine. That okay, these are the other things I do. Sometimes they even recommend. There was a time I was experiencing a bit of back pain, and my GP just said, "Well, "Damn it, just go swimming, do a lot of swimming, it will help straighten the back." And that worked. So there are some things that it may not necessarily even require, should I say, very big scientific evidence or application or whatever. It might just be some of techniques that we've picked up over the years as well. A couple of things we grew up doing, and say, okay, if you have cold, you know, goes down, they put rub inside water and you cover your head with it. But then there's a scientific basis to that, how it opens up the nostrils and the mental, and so a lot of other medicine, like I said, there's the scientific basis to it. Just it hasn't been heavily researched yet to fully understand the mechanisms behind it and how and why it works.
Thank you. So, final, what key messages or final thoughts should we leave with our audience?
The first thing I say is your safety. It should be your responsibility. Technically, your own safety is your responsibility in this life as well. And if you don't feel well, it's always advisable to speak to your doctor
Okay.
if you can. And even if you have an understanding or a knowledge of certain herbal medicines that work, I think having an expert guidance or recommendation in addition to whatever approaches you may be thinking, may be quite critical because they haven't gone to university to study for years for nothing. They've gone there and they've really dedicated their lives, many years of hard studying and combining things and speaking to them may help you to heal up as quickly as possible and may also prevent a devastating outcome as well, such as any life-threatening outcomes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Dami,
Okay.
for this wonderful insights. Anyway, Highway, thank you. And finally, for our audience, as Doctor have said, don't take judgment in your own hand because that's what a lot of people do. They'll say, you know what, because my parents have been using this Alba medicine, I'm just going to take it. And when you take it, it might not even be useful for you or it might not even work for you. So, and with conventional medicine as well, it's good to follow the instruction of the doctor so that we know that we're not taking the wrong dose and so that we won't damage our kidney or liver. Anyway, that is it from us today. Thank you for staying with us. And to my guests, thank you so much
Okay.
for your time. God bless you.